Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are doing a little quick impromptu video today because we're looking at the new LVO Las Vegas Open preview for 2025, specifically for the new supplements coming out for Necromunda. As you can see here on this Warhammer community page, it talks about the new Nomads rule the dunes of the Ash Wastes. So as you can see, this video is actually dedicated to the new brand new materials that are being released for Ash Waste Nomads, and of course we have this really awesome preview where they actually show some of the new releases coming down the pike for Ash Waste Nomads, which is actually quite cool. And one of the coolest things that actually came out, of course, is the new Shadar Hunters, which, as you can see here, these guys look absolutely fantastic. I think these miniatures look really cool. I love how they actually incorporated like the parts of the chitin as well as the claws from the Dustback Hillamites into this into their armor. As you can see, they got this really beautiful looking like spines and claws and chitinous armor panels and stuff like that. I think that looks really cool that the way they actually do this. Now, according to Games Workshop, these guys are going to be completely close combat oriented. They're not going to have any range attacks whatsoever. It's all close combat. And apparently they have a thing called a Wasteland Ambush special rule attached to them, where that means they kind of pop out of the ground, kind of like spiders, and attack people, which look really cool. I really like this weapon over here. It looks like some kind of venom injecting kind of weapon. So it looks like you have a weapon here with like some kind of venom tank here that you inject poison in. This guy over here looks like he's carrying shock whips from the looks of it. At the same time, looks like he's carrying some kind of like poison vials. Maybe those are like grenades, like war gear, like grenades, like choke gas grenades. I can imagine being used like that, or venom bombs, just because that's the way they kind of roll in the ash waste. I can see that happening. And of course, you guys have like these looking dagger looking things, and it looks like they have swords that have like little tanks of toxins on it. So I think these guys look really cool as well. I really dig the way that they look. I think these little packs that they're wearing are like oxygen tanks, so that way they can breathe under the ground, which looks really cool. So yeah, very thematic. I think these fighters look really cool as well. They say they can be taken as gang fighters, so I guess they're just an addition to your nomad gangs, which is quite good. So that looks really promising. And at the same time, we also have new exotic beasts. We have the Othermite spine worms. And they look really awesome as well. They look like centipede type creatures. And apparently, these are actually exotic beasts for your Shadar hunters. They can take up to 2 of these guys as exotic beasts in your gang. So I'm thinking they're probably going to use kind of like the same kind of rules that Millisaurs basically provide for your gang. For other Underhive gangs, so like I'm pretty sure they're close combat oriented. Probably have like some kind of bleeding mechanic because they talk about how they have an anticoagulant in their venom to cause you to bleed, so maybe they add additional flesh wounds over time. So that actually looks really cool as well. I really like the way the look of these spine worms look. Same thing with these Shadar hunters. I think that's a really cool looking kit as well. And then finally, the last thing they did, of course, is give us an upgrade pack for your Ash Waste Nomad miniatures, which I think looks pretty cool. I think the heads look really awesome. I like how they have like these spines. Like war gear to their heads. I think that looks really cool too. As for their weapons, it looks like what they gave them basically are things like monohooks, for example. Looks like we have like our Scavenge stub guns, our web pistol, a long blade. Looks like we have a Scavenge auto gun over here. Same thing with the web gun over here. Looks like we have some armor panels from chitin as well as some blast carbines. Looks like we have a venom caster as well as a heavy blaster, which is kind of nice because now it looks like we finally got all the different materials we need to actually upgrade our gangs for once. So looks like all the weapons and equipment for the Ash Waste Nomads are finally being addressed. And we also have a couple of sky mantles too, which is really cool. And another really cool thing I think is awesome is that they're also getting their own rule book called Tribes of the Wasteland, which is kind of nice because it is a house-specific book specifically for this gang as well. It looks like some of the things that they're talking about, of course, are things like updated gang rules, as well as new hired guns. So it'll be kind of interesting to see exactly what kind of hired guns they have. Same thing with Dramatis Personae. For their fighters too, so we kind of need to see that. They also have themed scenarios, a unique training post specifically for Ash Waste Nomads with some new interesting things there for them, as well as mystical additions besides. So I guess they're gonna, hopefully they'll take some of like those Spirit of the Wasteland rules that came out earlier in one of the Apocrypha Necromunda supplements. Hopefully they'll use those game mechanics and include in this book as well. So yeah, it looks really neat. I think that's kind of neat how they did it for Ash Waste Nomads. Now we have a new terrain piece here for Hab units, which is looks like a reinforced fortified hab module, which looks great. I mean, you got grenade launchers and like heavy stubbers and stuff like that on it, but you know, it's terrain. I mean, I know a lot of people like terrain that they can purchase for themselves, but I'm kind of spoiled in the sense that I actually have terrain made for our channel, so we don't have to worry about that too much. But I can see how this could be really cool for people, especially if you're looking for like a fortified piece of terrain, like a sanctuary type thing out in the ash wastes. And lastly, of course, it looks like they're bringing the Zormortalis terrain back. It looks like they're giving you 3, it looks like. I believe is what they said here. Yeah. 72. So they got you like 3 sets of the Hive Secundus Zormortalis style terrain that you can purchase for yourselves as well. But like I said before, for me, I'm not too worried about terrain on my channel, just because, we have an amazing Iron Major who makes all of our terrain for us, which is absolutely fantastic. So that part is kind of cool. Now, when it comes to the new reveals from Necromunda, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. I'm glad that the Ashwaste Nomads get new fighters, exotic beasts, as well as weapons upgrade. I'm really happy that they're getting a new rulebook attached to them. But the one thing I was really looking forward to was hoping that they would give access to larger insects or larger bugs for the Ashwaste Nomads to ride. Unfortunately, they didn't make any mention of that at all in the preview. When they were talking about it. Hopefully, this is what I'm hoping for anyways. I'm hoping that inside the rulebook, either one of two things either happen. Either one, they give us updated rules for insects, so like you could take the Dustback helmet as a mount option, kind of like how you could do that for Wasteland bikes, for example, or like the new Ash Waste grab cutter that they made for the Van Sar. Hopefully they can do that, so that way you can have your gangs be mounted on those things so they can find the battlefield. Hopefully they do that. Or two, they provide us with things like, as I sit here, right, with Dramatis Personae and hired guns. Maybe they give us more different types of creatures to use in our gangs, for example. So things like either larger insects that you can field on the battlefield, or characters that ride specific type of creatures, or that sort of thing. Hopefully they do that. But what I was really hoping for is they give us a vehicle option. For the Ashwaste Nomads, because I think that's a really simple thing to do for them. All they really have to do really is just take the vehicle rules that they currently have and just change the wording of some of the things they can get. Like, instead of saying a blade of armor, just say, I don't know, improvised armor, that they strap on their bugs to make sure they're protected a little bit. Or, for example, like if they want to have them have nitro burners to give them extra movement, instead of saying nitro burners, maybe they said like they're bred for speed, or some other thing like that. You could also take the lasting damage on your vehicle and just make a lasting injury table for your giant bugs as well. That way you can mount heavy weapons on them. You could also carry your fighters on them as well. Maybe instead of saying a transport bait, you just say a howdah, for example, or like an armored cage for your transport cage called like an armored howdah for your riders. I mean, stuff like that, right? You can easily make vehicle crews for these guys. All you got to do is just take a normal Ash Waste warrior's ballistic skill and their psychology stats, and that could work out too. But so I was a little bit more of a mixed bag on this one. I was hoping they would reveal something like that, where you can have like giant insects to mount your fighters on. Hopefully they do. They just haven't talked about it. I'm hoping that later on that kind of information comes out. But if not, you might just have to house rule those kind of rules for your gang and make those kind of things, which could be really easy to do. In fact, I'm actually brainstorming that right now to actually make like some homegrown rules to do just that, and just like make it like a little unofficial document that people can use in case something like that is not available in the tribes of the wastelands. But there you guys have it. This is my viewpoint on the LVO reviews for Necromunda. I think it's kind of great that we got some new stuff for Nomads. That's really awesome, but I just hope that they have giant insects as vehicles later on, because that would be really cool, and I think it'd make Ashwaste Nomads even more competitive for a lot of players out there. So that's good for those of you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this, you guys. I'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.